I'm finally learning to protect the energy I've worked so tirelessly to build, to surround myself with people who are on my wavelength or at least understand it. And I don't expect anyone to be like me or to pursue life in the same way as me, although I used to. But I still want to spread my experience and my way of living because I know it has helped me. Hi everyone, I'm Dev. This is my first video I'm making. I'm a little nervous right now because my housemates may or not be awake, but I'm gonna just do it anyway. So I thought about making a video about routines or habits for healthy living, or all these things that I somewhat practice in my life. But I kind of feel like there is a good amount of content on YouTube about those things, and I still might put my own spin or take on it later and make a video about that. But today I kind of wanted to talk about just a concept or idea I've been thinking about a lot in terms of how I live my life. And I sort of made a post on Instagram about it, which maybe I'll put somewhere, a link, I don't know. Sorry about the noise. But it's basically about this concept of living a life of fear versus living one full of freedom. And I guess what I mean by that is by a life of fear I kind of mean a life where there's things that you want to do, see, experience, but you choose not to for some reason. And I also do think that some people they don't really care to explore or to know maybe what's outside of what they already know. And maybe some people like that aren't living in fear and they aren't fearful. I'm kind of talking about this in my own perspective and how I feel about the world. So this is definitely not a universal way of thinking. Everyone's different. But yeah, and then when I think of a life full of freedom, I kind of think of these are the things I want to do. I want to reach these goals. How am I going to get there? Or even just this is the kind of life I want to have and the kind of lifestyle I want to lead, because it's going to make me the most happy and it's going to be the most fulfilling for me. And yeah, and that freedom is different for every person. And so I kind of wanted to relate this back to something I've done recently that I've had people question me about, or just be curious about oh dude, what? And I moved to Brooklyn, I think it's a month and a half ago now. And I truly kind of did it on a whim, in the sense that I had never visited here before. I went to Manhattan one time when I was 16 with my high school for a couple days, but when you're 16 you don't really have a concept of things in terms of living somewhere, what a place is actually like. I just truly thought that I would fit into the type of lifestyle here and enjoy being here. Especially because of the art scene and some of the specific things that I'm really into and really wanted to delve into career-wise. But so yeah, basically I was looking for housing in the Bay Area in California, and I'd been looking for almost 3 months, and I had yet to find anything, and it was getting super frustrating because I felt I was doing housing interviews. So I would go up and they would be oh yeah, we're interviewing 20 other people, we'll let you know. And I would just be so incredibly frustrated, you're interviewing 20 other people, how the hell am I supposed to how am I supposed to fit your mold? You know what I mean? It's just kind of really stressful. And then a lot of the people I would interview with would be older, they were in their late 20s, early 30s, and I felt they didn't want to be living with a 22-year-old not because I'm not even like really a rowdy person. I think just like their concept of living with someone who had just graduated college was like they're gonna be loud and want to party, or like, you know, and they probably would just rather live with somebody that's also older and like in their age range. But yeah, so then one night it was like literally 1 a.m. and I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm gonna see like what housing options look like in Brooklyn. And I just went on Craigslist and I went on Facebook and I just started like searching, and I emailed like 3 people. I went to sleep, and in the morning one person had replied and I was like, oh, sick. And I literally locked down housing in like a day or two, which I don't know if that's common for New York. It may not be, but I do think that there's like a greater availability of housing here. I'm not like super sure about how competitive the market is compared to the Bay Area, but I just think there is like more housing because everything's built very tall, whereas like you're only really gonna, I mean, in like downtown Oakland you'll find that, but for the most part like the Bay is like a lot of houses. It's like it's like a suburban city in a sense. But yeah, so it's like kind of how it happened. And I had been talking about like moving to the East Coast or like maybe New York or Chicago like for months, like way back before I even graduated. And so like my friends weren't super surprised. But it really just like opened up this new world to me where I was like, people are like, wow, you're just gonna move across country? Like, do you have any family there? Do you have any friends there? Do you know anybody? And I was like, I don't know anybody, I'm just doing it. And like part of that was because like I kind of like knew what I wanted out of life, and I knew what kind of career I wanted to have, and like what kinds of like things I wanted to follow. Like for me in terms of art, like I love underground like black house music. I really want to DJ and produce, and probably also produce things that aren't house music. I love to sing. I draw, but that's mainly for fun. I write music articles. I love to write poems. And these are all things that like I'd actually like to incorporate into a career for myself. Like I've done jobs in like business and accounting and administrative work, and honestly I could handle like HR type administrative work, but in terms of like, you know, like just like that kind of like professional lifestyle, it just doesn't really suit me as a person. Like I honestly, I would be making a good amount of money there, but I honestly wasn't happy in any sense. And like I don't make a ton of money now. I work a service job while I like figure my life out basically, or even just honestly while I attain the money to be able to buy the things to follow my dreams. But I'm way happier than I was when I had more money. Yeah, I could like purchase things and I could, you know, fulfill my wish list, but it wasn't really like helping me progress as a human being and like progress as a person and feel like I was really growing into myself and who, just like, yeah, who I wanted to be and who I am. And so I guess that's like what I mean about like the freedom aspect. It's just like knowing what you want and doing it like with no inhibitions, being like, you know what, this is what I want to do, I'm gonna go after it. And obviously do this in like responsible ways. It's not like I moved across country with like no money. I like worked a lot and like saved a ton of money and then I moved. Like don't move across country and like be homeless. I like don't really think that's like, do you, but I just think that's probably not better for the mental state. But yeah, I just think like if we relate that back to fear, I think there's a lot of people, and I think we can see it in like our parents or like older people that we may have met or know, or honestly angry old people, where like there were all these things they wanted to do in life that they didn't do. And like for me, I kind of think about it as like, why not? Like if we really are only here once on this earth, why wouldn't we do everything that we want to do? Like I don't know, I just like why not live, and this sounds so cheesy, but like literally why not live your life to the fullest? If like do what you want to do. But yeah, I guess that's kind of all I really wanted to like say today. Is kind of like live for yourself. Like I said in my like Instagram post, I was like, live for yourself, fall in love with yourself, like understand yourself truly and deeply, and that's your foundation. And then from there you can build, and like you can help other people build once you start building, and once you have the perspective that is more like optimistic but also realistic and are going after things, you're gonna inspire the people around you, and I think that's a really beautiful thing. Okay. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching if you did. I hope it was interesting in some way, or entertaining, or inspiring, or motivating, or just gave you some type of good feeling. Yeah, and just do you, man. That's all. All right, bye.